So I've been tasked by John Zeber, aka what is it, crawl, walk, run, or something like that, um, to work on his little motor here. The only real issue um, is that these leads need to be swapped over because what the controller is expecting is the reverse polarity. So we've got this connector here, which we didn't really feel like changing, and two very obvious solder points right on the side of the little motor. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to desolder it and swap the leads. That's as much as there is to it. I will mention that, and you can't really see it from this angle, but there is a capacitor going across the two. I don't know if that's to smooth out the electrical impulses, basically make the functioning a little less jerky. That's my assumption because you're gonna bleed off a little bit of the DC voltage into there. You're gonna smooth everything out, so a little bit less abrupt starting and stopping. But yeah, anyway, so we're gonna try to keep that on there if we can. And no promises this is going to go particularly well because it is kind of a tight joint there. Especially this lower one is going to be a little bit tough to get to, but yeah, we're going to give it a shot. So, oh yeah, I forgot to say welcome to Uncle Travis's electronics shop here. So I guess the first thing is a nice hot soldering iron. And this soldering iron is actually, I just got it. It's really quite a nice soldering iron. It heats up to almost 900 degrees Fahrenheit, which I think is something around 450 degrees Celsius. And it's really a remarkable little device. Wasn't that expensive either. I think I paid $40 for it. I'm running at 650 degrees right now, which I think is adequate. I don't want to overheat any of the leads. I'm not really sure what the insulation's made out of. And my concern is that if I run too hot, you start to melt the insulation, and of course you don't want to do that. So, kind of working around that. I may go a little bit hotter. It doesn't feel like it's releasing the solder as quickly. Well, no, never mind. That went pretty quick. So I'm going to get the solder off of these leads. You're not going to see that in the video. I'm just going to sort of melt it and just redo it because, I don't know, the solder that I have has a little bit of that rosin core flux on it, and it's always good to use new solder if you're going to keep a joint around, you know. So, I mean, the lead's pretty well tinned here, but get a little bit of flux on there. All right, so black is going on the top because black was on the bottom, if I'm not mistaken. I guess I should have written that down before I started. There we go, nice tinned wire. Maybe I'll get a little bit more of this solder off of here. I don't have, and I should have, a solder sucker, otherwise called a desoldering pump, but I grew up with a dad who called it a solder sucker, so I should get one of those. I don't know why I haven't, to be honest. I guess I just have been kind of lazy. I don't know if my hand was in the shot there, but I'm not really looking too much at the at my phone. So soldering is not rocket surgery. I mean, really, it's a very simple process. It's maybe a little bit delicate at times if you're working with smaller electronics. I'm going to bring the soldering wire around here. But you know, it's really not hard. This insulation kind of feels like it might be silicone. I'm not really sure. Oh my goodness. Can't get a good grip on this thing. If you can't, if you can't tell, I'm recording with my phone that is sitting on top of a box to give it a little bit of height, so you can see. Well, so you're not at the same level as the car. Yeah, I really. John mentioned that it was going to be tough to get in here, and I agree with him. This is really a bit of a challenge. You want to touch as little as possible, including your hand. You know, when the tip of the thing is 650 degrees, you want to make sure you don't touch it. Or touch it to anything that can't handle 650 degrees. Now, it looks like a good joint. It's kind of hard to tell, really. But yeah, I call that okay. Yeah, I mean, if you can hang the car from it, I suppose that's a good enough joint. And it looks like our little capacitor there has stayed intact as well. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I think it's a... Well, it says 104. I'm assuming that's microfarads. I'm not really sure. I haven't memorized all the different capacitances yet. But that's all there is to it. That's soldering, and really not hard. You can get a cheaper soldering iron for, what, 15, 20 bucks, and they work adequately. You know, you're not going to have the same... I'll show you my setup here. You're not going to have the same level of control and all of that stuff, but, you know, for 40 bucks, this thing is pretty great, and for 20 bucks, you can get a smaller one that plugs right into the wall rather than having the whole stand and everything, but... I've been soldering for a long time, so I kind of opted to get the more expensive one. But yeah, that's all there is to it.